Hello, hello. I am live. Um, so this is going to be a workout that is the type of workout that I need for my body. And I do a lot of really diverse types of movement. And the sort of Laban Bartenieff provides an underground foundation for the movement that I do and the choices that I make and how I think about movement. And so I am also going to do movement that is going to help me stay flexible and strong. So I'm going to start breathing, inhaling, opening up and exhaling, bringing my awareness into my body. So in this type of workout, I really want to stay present with myself as I'm moving. So I'm not fading off into what's going to happen later today or what happened yesterday or making plans for anything or judging anything. I'm just present in feeling my body moving, feeling what it feels like to be in my breath, in the space around me, moving my body. I'm going to take it down and shift from side to side, letting my head and tail release. So if we were talking from a Laban Bartenieff perspective, there are some developmental patterns that we just went through. The first one is breath support, finding this deep underlying breath support. And for that, I want to breathe all the way down into my gut. So I'm not doing high up, just upper lobe breathing. I'm really breathing deep down, letting my body move. So the way that I train is not to gain more rigidity in my body, but to have this alive, opening, closing, growing, and shrinking awakeness in my body. I'm going to say awake, but it's really presence. And so the first pattern is that breath pattern, breath support. The next pattern is this center to periphery, core distal pattern, right? Which I'm stretching away from my center out to the periphery and then bringing it in, right? So I'm finding this core distal pattern. Next pattern that I'm going into is a head tail pattern. From my tail to my head, finding fluid movement. Here I am in my fluid movement. This pattern also has an upper versus lower, upper to lower, homologous pattern, upper versus lower, upper, lower. I'm going up and then I'm going down. And then if I want to get into the next pattern, it would be side versus side. So I could do like a lizard kind of crawl, and I'm working one side and then the other side. So I've got this homolateral pattern. Next pattern, contralateral, cross body movement. This is like the stuff that our nervous system goes in, these developmental patterns as we are growing humans, right? First thing a baby does, comes out of the womb and takes that big breath. Once we are out of being in our mother's body, what do we do first? We breathe. So that is an underlying support that we always want to tune to first and foremost. And it doesn't mean that we have to push it, control it, change it. We're just tuning into it, bringing it online with us. And then babies sort of get this amorphous movement, kind of gut body starts to go, everything comes in towards their mouth. They're starting to come into their senses. So that kind of core distal relationship of reaching out, bringing it back is the next relationship. And then head tail as they start to come online with a nervous system. So if in our workout we keep thinking about these things, these patterns, here's my head tail, right? Freeing up the pattern, letting some mobility happen, fluidity through my whole head tail, right? What happens while I'm doing this? I am awakening the relationships between my organs, my bones, my muscles, my fascia. And if I add some spiraling movements into that, then I'm getting really three-dimensional movement in my joints, in my fascia, and that's going to hydrate tissue very differently than if I just do sort of more linear movements, although walking is a great contralateral movement. So just waking up tissue. We're going to work with a cat-cow, external rotation, internal rotation. External rotation, opening, internal rotation, closing the front, opening the front, internally rotating, externally rotating, internal, external, internal, external. I'm also playing back and forth with doing exercises that are really specific and clear, and then exercises where you have more freedom to play into your own body and feel like what you need to. So like right now, my body's like, oh, I need some sort of free flow swinging movement where there's a shift in the time, right? There's like the release down and then the suspension up. So I can add these arm circles, and this is a great pole warm up, doing these arm circles, going the other way, just getting in some mobility. I can do the swims here. And as I'm in these swims, I'm also adding this spinal head tail movement, right? So I've got this freedom from my head to my tail. There's a weight shift in there. These are all the things. And then I'm going to just spiral a little bit. In my spiral, I am spiraling through the horizontal plane. And I'm adding some bending and straightening. I'm about to get down on the floor, but first, circles with the shoulders, big circles. And then the other way, right? We want to have freedom in our whole scapula so that they can really move in this sort of sagittal plane, forward and backward, but then also in the vertical plane, like the wax on, wax off. If you see the Karate Kid, they do that wax on, wax off with the hands like this. You can do it with your shoulder blades, mobilizing shoulder blades on the back, right? So we're finding all these ways of hydrating, bringing to life, coming online. And I'm going to take it down to the floor. I am going to start actually with a big breath in and then exhale. And I'm going to open up into a very wide, not quite a downward dog, more open. And I'm going to circle wrist, wrist, ankle, ankle. So I'm working my shoulders and my hips as I'm making these circles. I'm working my wrists and my ankles. And I can also like wake up my elbows and knees into this, right? Feeling in, connecting, changing the direction. So all of this that we're doing is really dynamic mobility work. We're mobilizing, we're moving, dynamic, changing, mobility, moving, bending one knee and then the other, coming into my downward dog with my feet closer together, freeing up the head-tail connection again. So I'm just going to keep bringing back these patterns. Then we're going to go into this upper versus lower pattern, which is still head-tail. I'm going to move from my feet, rolling through my spine, take it forward, finding my plank, pushing back through my heels, and then dropping my head, pushing with the arms, rolling up to the ceiling, lowering my heels. Heels high, scooping my belly in, rolling it forward, pushing my heels back, head forward, dropping, rolling it up to the ceiling, to the gods, and then lowering down, up, hollowing, scooping, rolling it forward, finding my length, dropping, rolling it up and lowering down. There's Lord Gaylord, up, rolling forward all the way, dropping my head, taking it back up and lowering my heels. So I'm not spending forever. My hamstrings are very open. So to me, like this isn't a lot of work. It may be different for you. I can also feel what's going on. I can mobilize my shoulders in this position. I'm going to take it in, standing on my feet, opening from the back, and then rolling all the way up, upper versus lower, up to the ceiling. Exhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And there's that swinging pattern, right? Letting myself find it and adding that breath support with an upper versus lower pattern. Right? My body's moving through the sagittal plane, coming into pretty much straight vertical dimension. Vertical dimension, sagittal plane. Sagittal plane is the wheel plane. Vertical dimension, single dimension. I have up and down here. As soon as I start to move it, I am sagittal. If I want sagittal dimension, it's just forward and backward, right? Forward and backward. All right, taking it back down to my downward dog. I am going to take my right leg up to the ceiling, bring my knee into my chest. Inhale, open. Exhale, crossing under. Inhale, open. Exhale, outer shoulder, touching down. I'm going to step the back leg through. I'm going to take that up, bring it back down, step it back, kick the leg to the ceiling, and lower down. I keep kicking that plant. Maybe I will move a little bit further forward so I don't kick it anymore. Other leg, up to the ceiling, knee into my chest. Inhale, open. Exhale, cross. Inhale, open to the outer shoulder. Plant the foot. Pick up the hand. Step it through. Take it into the back bend. Bring it back down. Step it back. Kick it to the ceiling and lower. Leg up. Knee to center. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Outer shoulder. Hand up, giving you the space to step through. Press through. Bring it down. Step it back. Kick it to the ceiling. Lower down. Leg up. Other side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Outer shoulder. Step it through. Take it into the back bend. Bring it down. Leg back. Up and lower. And let's come down into something more for a back release. So breathing, breathe as deep as you need to. Arms out side, side, stretching from one side to the other. Nice C curve in your body. Thinking about the shape that you're making. Shoulder, neck, spacious. Then we're going to circle the whole way, taking it sideways, forward, sideways, and open. Side stretch, forward and around, open. Sideways and forward, open. Last one. Inhaling up, taking the legs out. Since I have this knee injury, I've got to give it a little bit more time to release before I switch to the other leg in front, which is this way. Is that right? Yes, that's right. And on this one, I'm just going to take it forward and I'm going to do head, tail. Head, tail, breath support, freeing up my spine, letting it go. Taking it down, surrendering, letting go of all the tension in the back of my neck and head, jaw, neck, and tongue. And coming back to breath support. Breathing all the way down into your guts. So while your breath is actually, your lungs aren't actually, or the air is not actually going into your guts, as your diaphragm descends and the air comes deep into the lower lobes of your lungs, pushes down on your organs. We want that movement. That is healthy, right? Our organs should move. Our organs should not be all jammed up. So we are going to change to our backs, big leg circles or small leg circles, as big or small as you want. Coming up, opening out, and down and in. For right now, I'm keeping my butt on the floor. And I am lifting my head as my feet go down. And I'm flexing as I go down, pointing up. Reaching through my heels. Two more. Last one. Taking a second to relax, freeing up the head tail again, head to tail, free flow. So you want to be able to send ripples and waves of movement through your body. And ideally, it's not just I arch and curl or I go side side, but it's this very amorphous, organic, three-dimensional movement, freeing up your whole inner body, creating space inside your spinal cord. So there's no room for spinal stenosis because there's movement, right? We don't have the time to calcify, right? That calcification and sort of stagnant body are from lack of movement. So we want to mobilize And I can think from my tail to my head. I can really feel my tail wagging. And I can feel how that ripples through my body. So spending some time building that awareness, that head-tail connection, right? And as you can see, my hands are going too. So I've got this core distal thing also happening, right? We could say that this exercise is a very core distal exercise, especially if you're pointing and flexing, right? Reaching out through your feet, but you've got this awareness in the center. Let's just internally rotate both legs for a second. Spiraling in. In Bartenieff, they call this the rotary factor. It just means spiral. Internal rotation, external rotation, they're both rotary factors, spiraling. The fascia in our body loves the spiral. And then let's come in and let's do some back stuff. So I'm going to reach down so I can touch my heels with my fingers. And I'm going to press up, walk my shoulders closer together, interlace my hands behind my butt, pushing up high. And here I'm going to roll to the outer edge of my foot and then the inner. Rolling open, knees wide, knees closed. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. So this is really for me to get the tissue in my legs to have this side-side movement, not just sort of forward, backward, up-down movement, but also this internal, external rotation, especially through my IT band, through my quads. My inner thighs are opening and closing, right? I have this mobility that's happening in a very three-dimensional way on the tissue that's around my femur head. So that's all fascia, muscle, pushing the floor away, blood vessels, nerves, all the stuff is coming down through there, lymphatic. And then I'm going to inhale tippy toes and exhale lower. Inhaling up, exhaling down. I'm going to scooch in, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. My arms are pushing the floor away. I'm opening the front of the body. Back of the body is working, but not overworking. It's just doing what it needs to do so I can do this movement. I'm going to come down, open it all up, let my spine release, shake out my arms and legs for a second, free it up, let it go. If we're holding tension, it's really hard to build strength or resilience, right? When we're holding on and grasping. So we want to, when we come out of anything, bring our tissues back to a really neutral. You can shake it out, wiggle, and then let's do a heel rock. So this is a Bartenieff heel rock. You're just digging your heels into the floor. So I'm going to show it to you without much movement, right? You can see my pelvis is not really moving. My rib cage isn't, my head and neck. And I'm going to free that up. And imagine a wave moving up and down through my body, like one of those sideways lava lamps that goes from side to side. Head-tail connection, upper versus lower pattern. Letting that go, internal, external. And let's go into a happy baby pose, just to release the hamstrings. Let your happy baby be like a happy baby. And shake it out, let it go. We're going to do the 3 leg switches. So it comes in, 1, 2, 3, and then both legs circle out, opening, and change it to the other leg. Going 1, 2, 3. Circle it out. 1, 2, 3. Open. 1, 2, 3. Circle. You can also drop your head to the floor for this. 2, 3. Open. 1, 2, 3. Open. Yeah, I drop my head down when I feel like there's too much tension in my neck or shoulders. And I'm going to switch it to a flexed foot. 1, 2, 3. Circle it out. So really three-dimensional movement for tissue in my legs, right? As I open, I'm going into the side. Here's my forward, backward, and I have some up, down. Last one. Opening it out. Relaxing down, wiggling it out, softening my inner body. So the faster that my body can drop down into neutral, the sort of healthier the tissue is. It's like when you do cardio and you're like, how long does it take for your heart to come back to like more of a resting pace? Like if it takes a really long time, you probably pushed yourself pretty far. So we want to be able to drop back to neutral really quickly. Hands behind your head, elbow to knee, going 1, 2, contralateral pattern, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Relax for a second. Drop your head. Soften your neck and jaw. Soften your lungs. So if you have rules about how your body is supposed to be, like, oh, I've got to close my ribs, or I have to tuck my tail, or I have to do anything, break all those rules, right? Let yourself free that up. Trust, if you've spent time and you have rules that you're thinking about how your body is supposed to be, there's a pretty good chance you got a lot of holding and extra tension in there that you don't need. And the chances are your body is not going to revert away from what you've learned very, very much or very quickly. So give it more freedom. Free up the pattern of you being you. Shake it out. Let's do a body half side pattern. So I'm going to open all the way through the middle and close onto one side. This is massaging out my shoulders, massaging out my back. If I slow down and really pour myself across, this is just great juju for the fascia in your back. If you feel like more energized and you want to make it more intense, go for it. Try thinking about what are your feet and toes doing. Let them do some variety of stuff. So it's not just pointed and flexed, but you have some diverse movement, like, right, freeing up the feet. So we're adding this core distal relationship to our side pattern, right? If I think about what my feet and my hands, my fingers and my toes are doing, it gives more possibility. As I go from side to side. I'm going to change it to a big twist. I'm going to go with straight legs. You could bend your knees if you want to make it easier. Twisting from side to side. This is like always my back adjusts doing this one. Using your breath. I'm inhaling down, exhaling up. And then bring it in. Let it go. Again, free up, head, tail. Shake it out. Pick up your butt. Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. See if you're holding. Like, right? Let go. We don't need to hold a whole bunch of tension in our butt or in our guts, right? It's not helpful. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. And I'm going to flip over, but first I'm going to roll back and forth. So you could just roll forward and backward. If it hurts to roll forward and backward, side is always an option. If you feel like getting more intense, you can really take this up to standing or not. That's just an option. And for me, it's like I can feel what that does. Like I've got to be working this balance with my knee of like, am I helping it or am I hurting it? Right. So I'm constantly in this negotiation. All right, last one. Coming forward and up to come into a regular plank. We're going to do just the shoulder touches. I'm going to open my feet fairly wide so that it's really easy for me to stay stable here, right? If my feet are closer together, then it's harder for my body to be stable. I'm opening wide to make it easier. Reach your butt up to the ceiling. Just take a downward dog for a second. Shift your weight from one side to the other so you get that side pattern. Shifting your weight out to one side and the other. right? So we went in our downward dog. If we're going forward and backward, it's an upper lower pattern. What happens if we go side to side, right? You can pick up an arm and touch, look under, and let's try picking up a leg, opening it out. Again, me in that plant. There we go. Good, and bring it in, taking it down to a forearm plank. From our forearm plank, we're gonna cross. One leg crosses under, we open up sideways, we bring it back and in. Step under, open, bring it back in. Step, open, back, in, open. We're gonna stay on this open side, 3 arm circles, swimming, letting your head tail free up as you do your arm circle. Change direction. There's a whole lot of cat hair out here, which I looked for the broom beforehand, but I didn't find it. There's also a cat directly under the couch over there, one over there, and one right there. So I'm in the cat jungle. Circles. And change direction. Head, tail, freedom. Push the floor away with the bottom arm. And let's bring it back and take it down onto the floor. Bend your knees, let your legs fall from side to side. Release and soften. Squeaky deeks. He's totally asleep. And let's do this. You're gonna bend your knees, lift up, cross and touch, open, cross and touch, open, cross and touch, open, cross and touch. Hello, hamstrings. Cross and touch, open, cross and touch, open, cross and touch, open, cross and touch, and relax. Wag your tail, shake your butt, free up the head tail. Easy and loose. All of that freedom in your body, freedom in your head tail, that's your like anti-heart attack activity, anti-liver disease, like getting the mobility in your body so there's fluidity and movement through your organs so you can be coherent. All right. There's something else I want to do. Yeah, let's just do this. You're going to grab on, if you can, both legs, pick it up. From there, you're going to open your knees wide and then touch them together. Knees open, knees closed. Knees open, knees closed. Open, closed, open, closed. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and release. Bring it down. Come up, take it back into your child's pose. Let go. Soften and melt. Breathe. Free up your spine. And let's come onto all fours and then do more spinal freedom there. So you're going to let your spine ripple and wave in novel ways. So if you feel like you have a plan, let go of that, change things around. You can change the speed, slow something down, speed something up, change the initiation and the follow through. Change your awareness. Like I can really think about what my arms are doing, how my hands are relating to the floor through my arms into my body, or I can think about my tail. What's my tail doing? I can think about how is my head moving? What's following from that? I can think about how is my weight shifting? Or I can think about the sequencing of my movement. And as I'm doing that, I'm kind of just allowing my body to do it in whatever way feels good. Shake it out, let it go. Think of like a dog shaking off the water after they get out of the out of the beach, out of the pool, out of the water, opening up into a big straddle. Let's circle wrists and ankles. Get tall, change direction. And then taking it to the side stretch. And I'm thinking about like inside of my body, my quadratus lumborum, my psoas, my organs, getting this side stretch, right? All of it. So you could static stretch and just hang out in one place, or you can kind of micro move in your static stretch so that there is still movement there. Turn and face your leg, same thing. For me, I always feel like I get more out of it if I'm not just totally still. Like the micro movement thing really helps. And then push the floor away and come up. Take it to the other side. Breathing into it. Mobilizing in whatever way feels good. Small little micro movements or big ones. Take it down to face the leg. But listening deeply into your own body, right? Really staying present with it. And then coming up, we'll take it down the middle. Oh, it's really dirty on the floor. Not that this is any better. This is all completely bitten up because one of my cats likes to attack it. Breathing into it. And we can safely say that the one biting this is not Lord Gaylord. All right, bring it in, shake it out, rotate in and out. And let's just do one more set of push-ups. So I'm going to do tricep push-ups with my elbows coming close into my sides. I'm going to keep my knees on the floor for the push-up, and then I'm going to pop them up once I've come up. So it's going to be like this. I'm going to do a push-up and then into a plank. Push-up, straightening my knees. You could do this the other way around, that you do the push-up and then you drop your knees in between each one when you come up here. So if you feel like that's a better version for you, go for it. Totally not counting. I'm going to do 2 more. And take it into a dog. Really reaching my heels into the floor here, pushing down with my hands. Yeah, I'm going to take it back, bringing my elbows towards the floor and then pushing. If I was fresh, I could drop them all the way down, but I'm a little bit tired and it's really hot out. All right. Letting that go. Interlacing the hands behind your head, dropping down, bending and straightening. Using your breath. So I want to do splits. I want to work on splits before it's over. I'm going to take it into a big lunge, moving forward and backward. So I can think about a few things here. I can think of really pushing back through my heel, lengthening the front of this quad. I can think of really standing on this leg so I could pick up. I can also think of my whole body getting into that forward backwardness. I'm going to take it down, go into the flex here, turn my leg in and out, and then I'm going to take it forward and down. Breathing into it. This is a great time to work on splits because it's so hot. I'm going to drop it to the floor. And then I'm going to bend the back knee. Oh, I'm super slippery now because I am sweating. I wonder if I can even do this. Probably not doing the same thing on the other side. So this is my happy knee back here. I don't think my other knee wants to bend that much. Coming out of it. I'm going to come all the way up to stand. So after I've done like kind of intense things, I like my body to neutralize and release before I go into the other one. Okay, but now I'm ready. Other leg forward, taking it forward and back. Reaching through that back heel, lengthening that back quad. Seeing if I can pick myself up. And then taking it down onto my knee, flexing this front foot, rotating in and out. So yeah, that rotation in and out is just going to shift what the whole infrastructural matrix of fascia, fluid, muscle fiber, tissue. It's going to really move it around in a different way. And then I'm going to take it forward and down into my split, breathing into it. Ha, all the way down. Up. Can I bend that back knee? Yes, I can. Does it feel good? I don't know. Not going to do the same thing. I'm just going to come into line here, breathing into it, using my couch. And then stretching it back, bringing it in, taking it into my downward dog, bending one knee, bending the other, walking my feet in to come back to that neutral and coming up to stand on my legs, right? So my body understands standing. If I've done something really intense and I want to come back to a neutral, I can either lay on my back or I can stand, I can walk around, right? Let my body readjust into what is neutral and what feels good. All right, I think I am coming to the end. I'm going to do a hip stretch on my back because my knees are not in love right now with the hip stretch that are seated. So I'm going to cross one knee over the other knee, grab my legs, draw them in, curling in, breathing into it. In this place, I'm going to circle my feet. This is my brain work. Again, we have core distal, change direction, circling the other way. Anytime, so the distal edge is like your fingers and your toes, your head, tip of your head, tip of your tail, anything that's like the edge. And then switch it to the other side. Same thing, draw it in. And I like to curl into it and then also to lay down and like it changes where I'm stretching. These little shifts in my body shift the stretch. And circling one way, circling the other way, shaking it all out. Ah, again, freeing up the head tail. Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. Relax, melt, fluid movement through your body. And thinking of that going all the way down. So it's not like, oh, it stops here at my hips, but it goes all the way down into the base of your pelvis, down into your legs, down into your feet. So there's a sense of grounding by energy being able to go down in our body, right? A lot of Western forms of exercise really enforce pulling up and in. We want to have equal access to pushing down and out, right? We want to be able to poop, give birth, connect to the ground, do all those things, right? And if everything's sucked up and in, it's not giving our guts very much opportunity to have both patterns online with us. Just a wonderful thought because everybody needs to think about that stuff sometimes. So I think that is it. Let's end it with breathing. Same way we started, coming back into breath support. Reaching out and up, feeling the space around you and bringing your awareness into the space outside of your body. So like we have the awareness inside, we have the awareness outside. Both of them are the awareness. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Here we have our upper lower pattern. We also have our core distal pattern, center to edge and upper lower. Then we're going to shift from side to side, right? So we have a side pattern and a head tail pattern. Breathing into it, letting go, letting any extra tension just drop away into the floor. And then rolling it up and coming all the way up. So thank you. If you made it any way through this thing, which I can see nobody did, but that's cool. Like if it's still working for me, it's enough. Cheers.